So maybe just make a comment and see what questions or ideas or comments you guys have, or what other issues you want to talk about. But I mean, again, part of the spirit and the purpose of Groundswell is to try to support this work in 10 countries around the world, but we're also trying to figure out how to connect, to these movements in the U.S. and initiatives, which was part of the initial inspiration for some of our conversations. And we haven't figured it out. I mean, there's obviously great stuff happening, but what's the value added, et cetera. So we're still working on that and hope to figure that out. But this idea of get bigger, get out. I mean, the problem is the food system is broken globally, right? So we have to be strong together. And I think, one, I was reading so 2 points: get bigger, get out. Right? There's Syngenta. There's a graph in this book from the big agricultural input company Syngenta, and their image of how farming will improve in Africa, and basically probably going the wrong way in terms of backwards. But how do you increase productivity of smallholder family farmers like the people you saw here? And the basic solution is they get more productive by buying inputs from Syngenta, genetically modified seeds, chemicals, pesticides, mechanization. But the secret, it's actually on their graph. It says the secret here, and then what happens? The farmers migrate out of agriculture. So 2.5 billion people, a third of the world's planet. That's the model. Leave agriculture, get bigger, get out. And where are they going to go? So part of the crisis and the opportunity right now is there is nowhere for them to go. There's not enough jobs in urban areas, and so farmers are now seen as a force that needs to lead the change in this way. And I was going to make another point, but I can't.
Well, let me jump in. The farmer's the rock star in this story. Listen, it's not the yellowbird. People love the yellowbird because we're cute and quirky and have great marketing. At the end of the day, I'm not the rock star in the equation. It's the grower that is. And so, in order to what our consumer and grower, our consumer base is saying. Yes, okay, wow, you really taught me a lot, Yellowbird, about what's going on here, and all I'm really doing is trying to point all the arrows back to, listen, this is, and here's an indicator. When I start talking about the farms as the leading pitch in trying to sell food, people like it, but it doesn't cause them an emotional response to purchase it. When I start talking about how to get the consumer healthier or their children healthier, click, 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 click. People are buying, put that in my market. It's the most searched Google topic on the planet. How do I get healthier? And so when you start to show what this does, it's not just hey, am I hungry and you're going to feed me? It's, listen, we are in a health crisis as well. We haven't even talked about, and that is again, feeds right into it. And so now you're talking about eating different, eating better. And if you would do that, the demand for the food would skyrocket, because then all of a sudden now you're driving it from this side, and it's not a how cheap can I get my food. It's I'm willing to pay whatever I need to, instead of all the healthcare costs that we associate with. And this is where I'm going to get my health from. And this is what I'm going to patronize in order to make this systemic change in my own life. And when you make the systemic change in your own life over and over and over again, it starts to spread to the community, to my reach, and then their networks, and then their networks. And now you've got something where, okay, boom, we've got now it's starting to feed back into the growers. And that's, I think, the power of your...
Yeah, no, I remembered my last point, and I wanted to open it up for questions. So, we need to change the operating system of our agricultural and food systems, right? There was an article read by Bill Gates recently, who funds a lot of agricultural work internationally with his foundation. And it's just, the operating system is always, what's the next app, what's the next technology, what's the next genetic modification that we can then patent and the company can sell it, right? But the solution is, what you're doing and what people in this video do. It's the innovation is human organization. I mean, you're innovating. That's the innovation. It's how do we organize as a society? How do we create democracy? How do we create economy? Yeah. And then innovating on farms as well in sustainable ways, which, ideally without the external inputs, but with local, working with nature and fighting against it. So I think that's the challenge and the opportunity that we all face is it's about human innovation, human organization at all these levels, of farming levels, building market levels, et cetera, communication levels. So.
I mean, but think about the common theme in this video. It doesn't matter if you're in Africa or you're down the street. Every person in this video is doing what? They're working. It takes work. It's not it's not an app. Everybody wants to develop an app. I can sit here and just start reeling in money based upon people touching their phones.
And they're innovating. They're creating. They're
Yes, right.
Fast and furious. You're always figuring out the next problem. How am I dealing with this or that challenge?
Right. And so that's where people are like, well, it create way too much labor. And I'm like, well, the last time I checked, there's a lot of people looking for work. Like, what if we thought, okay, if I'm going to work, like, what if I actually went and worked? And so that's a giant piece of it.